I did some digging recently in regards to the Utah Moab closures, and here's what I found. In my last video, I know it was rough, but I was just trying to get the word out about what was going on. But I laid out how SUWA has gotten in BLM's ear, well, more of a chokehold, in my opinion, through lawsuits. And in that video, I said there were many more areas that were on the chopping block for redistricting, and it seems that SUWA gets to make the calls on it. The next area for review is the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. They have had several public meetings about this area from late September and as recent as October the 25th, which was the last meeting. Now, the results and planned action have been posted by the BLM on their website. I'll post the link in the description. This is all long form PDF. It's a really long and dry read. I'm going to try and break down most of it as easily as I can. Just forgive me that it's boring, but we need to know this and people need to hear it. Here's a real quick quote right from the beginning of the article. The primary purpose of the plan is to protect and or restore the GSENM as a whole for its value as a unique, unspoiled and natural landscape and its use as an outdoor science laboratory. GSENM's immerse, scale, and unspoiled naturalness serve as a foundation for the rest of GSENM's objects, including but not limited to the diversity of ecotypes, geological, cultural, and paleontological resources, vegetation, and wildlife. Management will address anthropogenic or human-caused impacts and challenges. Increased in anthropogenic factors pose diverse challenges for resource preservation. Let's see. For example, adverse vegetation and soil impacts, loss of geological and cultural resources, the loss of potential for human solitude, adverse effects on certain wildlife species, and increases in noise. These are all the things that SUWA was saying in the previous video. That was their whole gripe with people being able to go there, is it impacts their solitude. Some people want to go to these places and not see another human and it be peace and quiet. But the problem is that these are public access places and you're going to run into other people. And they basically just want it down to a primitive setting. This language sounds exactly like something that is straight from SUWA's website. They are more or less using science to determine the effects humans have made on all these areas, all the way down to animals that graze. They mention everything from air pollution, greenhouse emissions, soil health, vegetation, and wildlife impacts. They have proposed several plans to deal with this. They've got plans A, B, C, and D. I'm going to break them down. Just bear with me on this. It's interesting. Plan A is basically no change. It will fall under the current use proclamation 9682. Plan B, this is where the limitations start. There are 5 recreational management areas and 3 recreational management zones that cover this area, and they would basically be re-examined for use. OHV use, anything identified as a wilderness study area will be closed to off-highway vehicles. I think this has always been the case for this area. They just mention it in every single plan. Anything not a wilderness study area would be limited to travel to designated routes with road density and sighting criteria identified. None of those areas would be open to OHV use. So basically, they would look at it at the routes and say, "Oh, this is going to be a wilderness study area now, and you can't drive here." Livestock grazing, if you aren't already under a permit, you're not going to get to graze at all there. So there's a ton more information about the livestock stuff. I'm not going to go into that. That's a little off topic for what we're talking about. They go on to state there will be an active call to action to help restore lost vegetation, waterways, and things like that. Plan B is some restrictions, not horrible. Plan C In Plan C, they discuss specific areas they will focus their attention toward. The front. Now, I don't know these places. I live in Kentucky. Okay, we visited Utah over the summer. We loved it. And this drives me nuts to see that this is going on. We were there and we saw not a single piece of trash. I just, this whole thing blows my mind that it's at this level. Anyway, Plan C. Uh, Front country area, passage area, outback area, and primitive area. They're going to talk about those sites in this Plan C. Off-highway vehicle use would be closed to the primitive area entirely. Not even going to be able to go there anymore. Front country, passage, and outback would have off-highway vehicle use, but it'd be extremely limited and only designated routes. These designated areas, they're going to, like if they say this road's cool to drive on, they're going to shrink that road way down. It's going to be the smallest possible road that they can come up with. It goes on to say siting criteria would be used to identify important resource areas, and those areas were obviously going to be closed to off-highway vehicle use. No target shooting at front country or primitive sites at all. Lots more livestock restrictions. Plan D is where they're going to go in hard. Okay, this is worst case scenario in my opinion. Basically, in Plan D, they're going to designate 10 SRMA areas and 4 ERMA areas. And these don't cover the entirety of the area at all. Okay, so before they had, 4 and 6 or 6 and 4 little designated areas. They're going to split it up and break those down into 10, and the acreage of those 10 would be less than what it was before, if that makes sense. Plan D is the most restricted off-highway vehicle plan. No target shooting anywhere. Livestock, heavy restrictions. Okay. This alternative D, basically would designate more lands as closed to off-highway vehicle use than any other alternative. Designated road density would be minimalized, and siting criteria would be identified to ensure the protection of GSENM objects. No areas would be open to OHV use. Complete and utter closure, it seems. Not good. Not good at all. So what does this mean? I don't know how they're going to determine which plan they're going to go with. I'm going to guess that this, if it's not already, I don't know if this is all just for show, but people feel like that's the case, that BLM's just doing this tell us your thoughts stuff for show. They think that SUWA has already clubbed them over the head and taken over. I don't know if that's true or not. It sure seems like some of the language that they're using is very SUWA-like, from what I can tell. Some other things in Plan D, basically livestock heavy restrictions. They had too many things for me to even list. Vegetation management, heavy restrictions as to what can be done even near the area where they're going to try and get regrowth is deemed necessary. Another one that's interesting is the oh my gosh. Another one that's interesting is redistricting corridor 68-116, no longer an energy corridor. So they're going to start taking even the energy stuff and backing it off. They go on to talk about the specific topics they want to address: water, air, night sky, noise, pollution, air quality, all that stuff. I noticed that they specifically mentioned several times for the ability for people to just have peace and quiet. And that's basically SUWA's whole thing right there. So that's a bit of a red flag. They do recognize that the impacts from Plan D would heavily decrease revenue by closing land to visitors, which I'll go on another tangent in a second. They also claim the type of visitors that they would get, even though it's less, the ones they would get would really enjoy it because it's a whole lot of peace and quiet because nobody can do anything there now. In one of the links that I'm going to provide with all these notes, they have even the recordings of the town hall in audio. So they basically read questions from the public, and then BLM answers it. And one of the questions I just happened to land on was, "Dear BLM, why are you closing lands to the public?" And they said, we're not doing that. But right here, they acknowledge that that's exactly what they're doing. And if they go through with Plan D, it'll have less people. So I don't really understand how they can say that. So I will post some links to this information and to the discussions that are still open as of 11/4/2023. I'll be honest, none of this looks good to me. From what I've seen from the BLM Utah's Facebook, people are pretty angry, and they seem to have lost faith altogether in BLM's ability to listen to the public versus listening to SUWA. I don't know what the solution is, but I know we need way more voices in this. I am actually really surprised some of the bigger overlanding and off-road channels haven't made a video about this. I've only seen a couple of peeps here and there. That's the most worrisome thing to me right there, is that as a group, we're not shouting to the rooftops, going nuts over this. I don't understand that. I'm not a big channel, so there's only so much that I can do. So if you guys like this video, if it would help, share it. I mean, I just trying to get the word out and do my part the best I can. Basically, this is our moment to stand together, or Utah's completely going to fall, and Colorado is already on their radar. SUWA's already talking about Colorado. I continue to push two organizations at the forefront of this fight: keeptrailsopen.com, sharetrails.org. We really need to get these guys some help. I'm going to link their donate links in the description. If you guys can donate there, they need all the help they can get. SUWA is getting donations from all over the country, and they're going after this with lawsuit. And every time they win, I mean, they're hitting them where it hurts and putting BLM in a headlock, basically. So, like I said, if you like this content, share. I'm going to try and do more as I find out. I have to research this stuff, and it takes time to do. I would appreciate if you subbed, shared, liked. I hate asking for that stuff, but it's where we are right now. So I'll let you guys go, and I appreciate you watching it. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I really want to see this situation change. I absolutely can't stand this. It makes me a little sick. But we're not going to go down without fighting. So that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.